Hey, y'all. It's Juanita Coley, the founder of Solid Rock Consulting, where we help call centers implement technology, optimize the technology that they currently have in place, and build better workforce management teams. I want to welcome you to Call Center Chronicles. Call Center Chronicles is a place for CEOs, call center professionals, tech leaders, and yes, the customer, looking to have fun yet thought-provoking conversations around how we improve customer experiences and companies' bottom line. We are on a mission to normalize women in tech and workforce management leadership roles, and we believe that starts with conversation. Welcome to Call Center Chronicles. Hey, guys, it is Juanita Coley. Welcome to another episode of Call Center Chronicles. We are in season 6. I am your host, the Contact Center Whisperer, also the CEO and founder of Solid Rock Consulting. Listen, come on in the room. Y'all already know the drill. Drop in the comments where you're tuning in from. If you're tuning in live, let me know you're tuning in live. Type in the comments now. If you're catching a replay of this, if you're catching it on the replay, just do hashtag replay gang. Replay. Say that 5 times fast. And I only said it 2, right? If you're watching this on replay, make sure you type in the chat replay gang, because I come back, I read the comments, I want to engage with you. I want to actually, this is not a, one-sided conversation, right? This is a dialogue. I want to have dialogue with you all. As you already know, I believe that that's where impact happens, when we start having open dialogue and communication. Listen, I have an amazing show lined up for you all today. Y'all already know season 6 is dedicated to the accelerator factors. The accelerator factors. Juanita, what are you talking about? Well, if you have been under a rock, okay, and you haven't been following along, no problem. No judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. Say it with me. Judgment-free zone. All right. So the accelerator factors, we're talking about customer experience, employee experience, and workforce management. So many times workforce management is left out of the conversation of CX and EX, but literally by definition of what workforce management is, having the right people in the right place at the right time to service your customer, definition of workforce management, is going to impact your customer experience, and it's going to impact your employee experience. How so, Juanita? How? No worries. I got you covered. If your workforce management team, or you don't have a workforce management team, isn't forecasting for the volume, phone calls, emails, chat, back office, whatever it may be, right? If they're not forecasting for that appropriately or not accounting for that volume to come in, who's there to service the customer? So now, right, in the bank, you're calling the bank up, you're calling your healthcare provider up, you're calling, your travel company up, and they didn't forecast for you. They didn't anticipate you to call. So guess what? You're on hold, delayed, call not getting an answer, and God forbid you wait for forever and the line disconnect, Oh, don't even talk about the tragedy, to the chest. That is tragedy. So that is impacting customer experience when your workforce management team, or the lack thereof, did not plan for that volume. Okay. So then how does that impact employee experience? Well, what about when the employees are getting calls back to back again, because we did not anticipate the volume being this high? We're going into peak season, whether it's travel or whatever your peak season may be. And so we just didn't anticipate the volume being this high or this low. So your employees are either getting volume back to back. We call that burnout. Okay. So now they start doing crazy stuff like unplugging phones or staying in ACH too long. They start doing all the things that you're like, why are you doing call avoidance? Right. That's what we call call avoidance. Well, they're avoiding calls because they tired. Them people need a break. And so because you didn't forecast appropriately or schedule appropriately, now we have an employee experience problem. Okay. Not to mention, if agents are sitting idle for a long time, the business impacts of that, as far as overstaffing or understaffing is concerned, that has dollar implications. And so workforce management, this is my hill on which I stand. I always talk about this. Workforce management, by sheer definition, impacts customer experience and employee experience. So that's what we're talking about in this season of Call Center Chronicles, and we're talking about it as an accelerator factor. And so we're still talking about customer experience. We're still talking about workforce management. We're talking about how we have a better customer experience, better employee experience. What are some of those barriers? And so again, if you are new to the season, if you're new to the show, I encourage you to check out some of the prior shows, but make sure that you definitely dial into today's show because we have an amazing guest coming up for you. Now listen, housekeeping, before I get too excited, because y'all already tried to take me in right there on workforce management. Y'all tried to take me in. All right. Housekeeper, before I get too excited and announce who our guest is today, we have Lunch and Learn. So if you don't know about our Variant Lunch and Learns, okay, this is where we're really diving deep on a very specific feature of Variant. Okay. We're talking about how do you get the most out of the net staffing ribbon, or how do you do shift bids appropriately in the tool, or, really it's an hour time where we're going in on a very specific topic that you requested. Okay. So make sure that, and I'll put in the comments here somewhere in the chat, if you already know, if you're here and you know where the Lunch and Learns are, go ahead and put it in the chat. But I'll put that in the chat so that you can go and register for the Lunch and Learns. We have them twice a month. Okay, so that's that. Then if you're here in the Orlando area or in Florida, or you can fly in. Listen, ain't nothing but I heard Frontier got like a $400 special on something. Y'all know I fly Delta. So I'm not going. But I heard Frontier got a $400 special, so you can fly in for sure. But we have these events that are coming up. We did CX. They're called the CX Address, the State of CX Address, and so we're doing community building around showcasing leaders and just having roundtable conversation around customer experience, employee experience, thought leadership, all the things, right? So our last event was at STK Steakhouse. It was phenomenal, rave reviews. They said we cannot stop doing it, so we're going to do it again. This time we're doing it at Top Golf. I think the next month we're doing it at Wine Wednesdays or something like that. But don't hold me to it. Click the link somewhere here in the chat. All right. So you can find out about our CX Address Roundtable Leadership Conversations. I think that's it. I think that's all of the housekeeping. If I forgot anything, I'll link it in the chat, okay, as we're having our conversation. But without further ado, okay, the man of the hour. See, I already gave y'all a hint. Man of the hour. I have with me today none other than the VP. He's a repeat guest. So can y'all tell me who y'all think that it may be? He's a repeat guest because he's just that dope. Y'all type in the chat if you think you know who it is. I'm going to give you a second. 5, 4, and 1. Okay, I skipped time like that. Anyway, listen, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Listen, thank you so much. Our guest today is none other. He be dropping gems. If you know who I'm talking about, put it in the chat. I always say this about this person. He is known for dropping gems. Just watch. If you haven't met him, you're going to meet him today and you're going to be like, man, he got so many gems. I know I'm hyping him up, but he is really that good. We have today with us none other than the VP of Duxie, VP of Support at Duxie, Sean Ilenrey. Sean, thank you so much for being on the show with me today. I'm super, super excited. My cheeks are already hurting because I'm smiling that hard because I'm waiting for these gems. So if y'all see me over here like this, that's because I'm taking notes. I advise you do the same. Thank you so much, Sean, for being with us today.
No, thank you. First of all, I'm getting my Delta flight. I'm getting down there because I love STK and I love Topgolf. So I'm mad I didn't show up.
Listen, it's going to be fire. It's going to be an amazing event. We, this is we're not selling you on anything. We're having conversation, real thought leader conversation on what are we doing? Where is the industry right now and where is it going and how can we create better leaders? Right. Mm-hmm. So many times we're talking about all the technology that we need and all those things, but technology is only going to do what you tell it to do. So if we don't have really good leaders, really good processes in place, then we're going to fall flat. And so the events are really about creating thought leaders and getting thought leaders that are already in the room to pass that on to the next generation. So contact center can be a place that people want to grow up and actually work in,
Absolutely. Yes.
But don't get me started. Thank you again so much for hanging out. What's been up since the last show?
Oh, man. So last show, I want to say I was at my company maybe 2 months. I've been here over a year. So a lot has happened. What we thought we were going to become, we had to pivot like a lot of other companies.
Yeah. Yeah, so I know since you were on the show last, you've been doing a lot of speaking, okay,
Yeah.
dropping gems on everybody's stage, okay, and lots of podcasts. For those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about your journey into the contact center and your journey into the role that you're in now. Let's talk about that. Let's introduce you properly to the newbies.
Yeah, so I'll go fast. I won't take 15 years to explain it. But, for me, I was that kid who, from when I was a kid, who was in the arts. So I loved music. I loved dancing. My entire passion was artistic. I never thought I'd be in the corporate environment. Of course, teachers would say I was highly intelligent, did very well on tests, but I messed up in school. So I was that kid who didn't graduate from high school on time. People would look at me and say, what are you going to amount to in life? And I found myself at 19 homeless, living in a car, living on people's floors, begging friends for help. Whereas I got in the contact center world, I was able to change my life completely. At 19, homeless, at 29, a VP of a contact center.
Come on.
Never thought it was possible. And to your point, leadership is what got me there. It's those leaders who pulled you up along the way. And I'm just highly passionate about the contact center world because it gives anybody an opportunity. It doesn't matter what your background is. You just got to lean into it and you know what your KPIs are. So just outperform and overachieve.
First of all, know what your KPIs are. Didn't I tell y'all he gonna be dropping gems? Know what they are and then outperform them.
Yes.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that as leaders, and we just want people to get to the KPIs that sometimes are not even the right KPIs, but I digress because I'm not trying to come for nobody's life today. Okay. But I'm saying I've been in contacts and I'm like, how did y'all come up with that? Like, why is that the metric? That don't even fit the mission of the company, the direction y'all trying to go. But I digress. But then when we do have the right KPIs, talking about overperforming and really leaning in, not for even the sake of the company, but just for the sheer fact of, hey, I want to be the best. I want to do well. And I not only do well, I want to exceed expectations. Where do you think that desire comes from to exceed expectations, Sean?
I think it comes from when you have a chip on your shoulder. When you're a person who, I would say two different areas. Coming from when you believe and you're told you're not going to amount to much, you kind of want to prove everybody wrong. So you kind of go above and beyond and say, okay, let me give my best effort. Let me show and prove to myself that I am worth more, that I can actually do more and add more value. But then it also comes from a place of, I genuinely care about other people. So working in a CX role, I had the opportunity to say, every single thing I do helps out the next customer, the next interaction, helps out my leader, my peers, because if I'm picking up my weight, it's less work to go around. So it's that desire to prove and show that I do have value in life, but to also be of value to others, because essentially all this is about people. We're not in the contact center world. We're in customer relationship management. That's what we do.
Man, I can't wait to pull snippets. We are in a customer relationship management industry. Like, how do we, and I'll even take that even one step further. We're in a human relationship management industry. Yeah. Right? Because so many times we talk about customer experience, we talk about employee experience, and then we wonder why we have this siloed effect or impact in our contact centers, in our businesses, in our wherever in our lives, because people go home and they turn off from your business.
Yes.
Instead of us having a human experience, that being embedded in the culture that we're creating in the contact center, people don't go home and turn off from being human.
Not at all.
That thing carries on. Don't get me started. See, you trying to pull me in. Let me go to these questions, okay? Let me go to these questions. Listen, we've been talking a lot about customer experience a lot lately. A lot. I feel like every time I can't even walk a couple seconds, right, without running into somebody who's now a customer experience or a customer, journey expert, and it's interesting, especially growing up in the contact center. I'm like, where was y'all when Where was y'all when I was in the contact center? I needed help bad, you know? But anyway, I digress. This call center Chronicles getting a little petty in season 6, huh? Anyway.
Honest,
But it's true, right? It's the truth. It's contact center experts and CX experts everywhere. And so many times we hear the word customer experience and customer journey used interchangeably. I want your take on that. Do you believe they're the same thing? If so, why? If not, why? What's your take on customer experience and customer journey?
Yeah, I look at it in a couple different ways. I'll add in, we start off with customer service and customer experience. So I always look at it through the lens of, if I'm someone going to buy a home, what is that experience like for me? So when you walk into that home, how it smells, how it feels, the energy, that the AC is at the right temperature, that entire experience, the ambiance, that is the experience of the home. If it's run down and beat down, you feel horrible. But the customer service is, how is that realtor treating you when you walk in? How are they explaining things? Are they making it easy for you, effortless? That to me is the customer service side of it. So you want to make sure you have both of those right, because if you give me great customer service in a bad home, I still want to leave it. It doesn't matter. Right. But on the end, same, it could be a great home, but if you put that wrong person there that gives that wrong customer service to that customer, you find yourself wanting to walk out of that building. Now, the journey to me is the direction that I'm walking to get there. What led me to this home? How effortless was it? Was it that my realtor then sent me some options? They sent me a website. We clicked on it. We went down a road. Did we have to go 30 minutes from my home? Because that journey to get to that entire experience can actually burn me out before I get there. So if you can find a much better path for me, instead of saying, go down the street, look for 3 gas stations, turn to the right, Krispy Kreme. If you can instead, hey, here's your direct pinpoints on how to get there. And when you get here, we're going to make it easy for you. And we're going to also make sure you're happy to be here. That to me is how you want to think about customer service, customer experience, customer journey.
Yeah, I love that, because, when we think about customer journey, it's really, making sure, first of all, before you can do customer service, before you can do customer experience, before you can do customer journey, you have to know your customer. That's the first thing, right? And you have to know, because, for example, say you're servicing a population that is Americans with disabilities, right? Persons with disabilities. If your business is not ADA, right? You don't have a ADA ramp. You don't have anything that's for accessibility. You've alienated the population that you're there to serve, right? And so understanding who your customer is allows you to create a better journey for them. You got elevators in here or stairs in your building, and I'm in a whole wheelchair. How I'm supposed to get up tell me how that's supposed to happen, right?
Yes.
And so not knowing who your customer is puts friction in the journey, or makes the journey I'm not even going to start on the journey, but that's a big part of your customer base. So you first need to know who your customer is and understand their journey to your organization, to your point about the house, right? The home. And so I think that's very key. And there's some very key distinctions that need to be made when we're talking about service, experience, and journey.
Yes.
All right. And because we're in this era where everybody's a CX expert, like we use the words very interchangeably, and they have very, very different impacts in their very different, I believe, disciplines. So, hey, I got a question on, what do you think are the barriers? What are you seeing as some of the barriers to delivering great customer experience right now?
I can speak specific to my org. It comes down to headcount. I think what we've been through is that a lot of us began this year in organizations where we've had to pivot, and we said, okay, in my industry specifically, we had a huge change in everyone's business model, not really knowing, okay, what's going to be our biggest product that we're selling, because there was a huge product in our line of business that got shut down, and we had to pivot. So as you know, what we do in workforce management, it's all about forecasting and planning. If I can't foresee what's upcoming, I'm going to be more cautious and more conservative. So a lot of us found ourselves in a position where we didn't hire to the actual need, or we thought we could find other ways to do so. And by the time we figured out, hey, you know what, we're getting to a state of backlog and burnout, it's a very long time to turn that ship around. I always say the contact center is the last place you want to be behind on headcount. In order for me to recruit somebody, it's going to take a few weeks. Then I got to train them, and then I got to get them to nesting, and then they go into production. That could be a 2-month process. So just to get out of your hole, it's going to take that long. If along the way more people are leaving because of burnout, now you find yourself in a position where you have to hire even more people. So it continues to push out the problem. So you want to make sure you're utilizing workforce management, to your point, to also always stay ahead of it. I just got my employee pulse survey. We did our employee surveys, and the number one feedback we got was, we want more headcount. We need more people. And we're in the process of now, but when your front line can see it, when that's the number one thing on their mind, that's when you know that you have to prioritize it and protect yourselves.
Now that's good. Now, I got to drill into that. Now, who did that information come from? Was that coming from agents, frontline? Was it coming from supervisors that was like, we need more people? Like, where did that information come from?
Surprisingly, agents. Of course, the supervisors are saying it too, but the agents are saying it. And to be in full transparency, we're actually in the process of, we're getting ready to launch an outsourcing partner, and the agents are even excited about that. There's no concerns about, is my job at risk? We made it clear, we're going to always have our team in-house. We're just getting a partner center so we can have iron sharpen iron and have some redundancy. But to them, they're even excited about that, right? So that's when you know that, okay, if we are communicating properly, letting them know that here's where we are, but here's where we're going, they will stick around. But you have to have a destination of when things will get better for them, because they're ready on my team. They're just, get them in here tomorrow.
Right. When can they start, huh? I love that, because again, that goes to show you agents and whether frontline, whether it's leadership, mid-level leadership, senior level leadership, they're saying, hey, we need more support.
Yes.
Right. We need some more support. I love that. What do you see as one of the barriers to EX, right? Employee experience and really delivering a strong, I'm always saying, this, you probably can finish this sentence. If you don't have a good EX strategy, your CX strategy is trash. Right? Like, I need to trademark that. I'm always saying that. What do you see currently now, whether it's in Dutchie or just in the industry, because I know you're always somewhere speaking, as one of the biggest barriers to delivering a strong EX strategy that then connects right to your CX strategy? It's not CX and EX over here working in silos, but they're working in tangent together. What are one of those biggest barriers?
Absolutely. I'm not going to bring up the headcount again, because we just touched on that. But of course, that definitely is a big part of it. But I'd say a part two is for growth. So when you think about a lot of your contact center support teams, customer service teams, they're usually a point of entry for that organization. So employees are happy to sign up and say, I will take this job tomorrow. I'm going to work hard so that I can promote myself, and then maybe go into quality, go into workforce management, or even go outside of the contact center into like sales or marketing. So when we don't have the opportunities, or not enough opportunities within that organization for their growth, that can start to cause some morale dip, because they're saying, wait a minute, where am I going to go? Where are my opportunities? So what we've really been on is we're doing apprenticeship programs where they have an opportunity to do, if you're a top performer, we're going to let you rotate with another team for an entire month, maybe give you 8 hours a week to do that. So now you're picking up those skills, and those teams now have someone they know, okay, when we're ready to hire, we already have someone in support. And the key is that support reps are the best employees to promote, because they know exactly what your customers are looking for. They know the product challenges, and they can help you make it better.
I love that. Growth, right? Like, and I say this all the time. When you hire someone, you should already be thinking about what their career path is. They should already, I personally believe in new hire classes, right? We should be talking about career pathing. Not when we're onboarding people in organizations, we're not only just introducing them to the organization and introducing them to the policies and the procedures and who all the execs are and the people that be, but also there should be a day or half a day or some time in that onboarding process where we're talking about career pathing.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that creates stickiness. When we're talking about, just think about it from a customer perspective, right? When we're introducing technology to them, or we're introducing them to our company, right? We're telling them about all the products that they can buy. Right? Like, don't just buy the socks, buy the gym pants and buy the jacket. And oh yeah, we got this water mug and we got all the things. Why? Because you're creating stickiness, and it costs you less to have a customer come back to you, repeat customer, than to acquire a new customer. So same thing with employees. It costs you less to promote an employee than to hire from outside or have to hire new employees, because those employees then went to somewhere else and got the promotion or got the raise that they really deserved at your organization.
Absolutely.
Don't get me on my soapbox. You know I can go. You know Anywho, all right. Next question I got lined up for you. All right. So tell me. So we talked about CX. We talked about EX. How are you leveraging? How are you tying that all together in your organization with workforce management, the WFM methodology?
Yes. So if you heard anything about me before, I always say the same thing. If it's not in your budget, it's not real.
Say it again. Mic drop, mic drop, mic drop.
If it's not in your budget, it's not real. So the great thing about the contact center is we have this thing called a shrinkage budget. So within that, you want to make sure if I say I'm going to have an apprenticeship program, it's in my budget. If it's not in your budget, it's not real. So I say you have a shrinkage budget. Within that budget, that apprenticeship program I talked about, if you're not actually putting it in your budget, expect to have a debate with finance down the line, expect to have to rob Peter to pay Paul. So you have to make sure that's in your shrinkage budget. That way you're actually making that development time. And it gives workforce management a tool to say, okay, I see this coming up in my capacity planning. I can schedule around this. Now, I'm not saying, hey, we're going to be 5 heads short if we do this. It's already there. So you have to make sure if you're going to have that proper experience, you're baking it in there early. Get that development as a priority and actually plan towards it.
Come on here. Talk about how WFM pulls that together, because again, you've already planned for it. It's in your budget. It's a part of your plan. So your customers aren't sacrificing, right? Yes. And your employees are not sacrificing, and the business is better for it. Come on, man. Don't. What are some, I missed my final question because we'll be over on time fooling around with you, Sean. We'll be over on time. I'm trying to be respectful of the people time. Okay. Tell me what's next for Dutchie in this journey of CX, EX, workforce management. What's next?
Yes. So we're actually at a point where our workforce team is finally up and running. It gets functional. We have that, but we have a long way to go. We still need to bring in real-time analytics. We don't even have that yet. So we have to put that on the table because that's going to help us be more intelligent about the time of day, and we can put our resources and we can move people around and how to pivot when we have to. In addition, we have email automation coming out. So we have our chatbot that rolled out that we're always tweaking to make better for the customer experience. But we have an email component where now we can also triage a lot of those early questions for customers or get those quick responses out a bit sooner. And then now, as I mentioned earlier, we also are launching our new vendor partner next month. We're going to have a sister center where essentially we have to make sure we're raising the bar and we're saying, okay, we have to be at parity. Both of us have to give the exact same customer experience. It can't be I called this number or I spoke with this team, this other team was better. We have to be the same. So we have to move and work as one. So we have a combination of workforce analytics, a combination of AI automation, and a combination of the human element with resources coming up.
I absolutely love that. Well, thank you so much, Sean, for hanging out with me today. Hang out in the green room with me while I wrap the show, and I'll be right there over with you.
Thank you.
Listen, I don't even have to summarize that. Y'all got it. Y'all got all the bars. Y'all got all that. Listen, make sure you tune in for our next episode happening next week. Make sure you click the links in the comments for all the things that we mentioned earlier during the show. Until next time, I'm full. My cheeks hurt. I've been smiling too much. I'm out. See y'all next time. Go be great. Bye.